Hello, YNABers. My name is Jesse Meekum, and this is podcast number 389 for YNAB, where we teach you 4 rules to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, get out of debt, and save more money. Today, I want to go back to the basics. I feel like we've just been chatting about a lot of different things, but today let's hit the basics. So basic, in fact, that I want to talk about Rule 1. The reason Rule 1 is Rule 1 is because it is the most important rule. Every other rule is actually just a subset of that first rule. Rule 1 is to give every dollar a job. Let's break it down word for word. Give. But, you're bestowing. It's you being benevolent. And it implies that you're in control. It implies that you get to decide. You are the benefactor. And you can basically tell those jobs that you own full and outright, you can just give them the job that you want them to do. So you give because you're in control. You are the supreme czar of this situation. So you give. You don't assign, you give. You're being kind, right? And you're being thoughtful. And you're being benevolent. So you give every dollar a job. Let's talk about every. You don't let a single dollar off the hook. Because if you do, then it does not keep its sanctity as a zero-based budget. The trade-offs disappear. But if you're giving every dollar a job, that means every single dollar has a purpose, has some intent behind it, because the benevolent dictator has decided that's how it should be. And has given those jobs to those dollars. So every single dollar has to have a job so that if you ever need the jobs for something else, Rule 3, we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks, you can feel the trade-off. And that feeling of the trade-off is probably the most important thing about budgeting, period. But if you don't give every dollar a job, then you aren't feeling that trade-off. You aren't feeling the pull of, if I do A, I can't do B. So you must give every dollar a job. Don't defer dollars. Don't wait. Don't leave them to be budgeted later. That's not a job, okay? You defer it by saying, I want you to pay my rent next month. That's a job. But don't just say, I'll leave this here to make my budget a little squishy. In that instance, those dollars are escaping jobs, and we don't want that. If you want those dollars to have the job of peace of mind and a buffer of some kind or another, then that's fine. But be intentional about it. Every dollar has to have a job. Now, dollar. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Dollar, pound, euro, whatever. It's all the same. But the key here is dollar. And why not cent? Why not penny? Because we don't want to get too granular. So the idea of budgeting something to the tune of 50 cents, unless it's math, your life insurance premium is $927.16. You divide that by 12 and it comes out with some pennies. But for the most part, you should find yourself budgeting in whole dollar amounts. Anything less, and I feel like you're just typing more than you need to. So let's keep it to the dollars. Then you give, benevolent dictator, every, thorough dictator, dollar, common sense, pragmatic dictator, a job. And that's where the dictator's priorities are defined. It's a job. It's work. It's productive. It's probably efficient. It's purposeful. There's intent behind it. It's meaningful. There's passion there, perhaps. You think about the ideal job for you. What do you look at? An intersection of skills, passion, economic viability. Well, what about with your money? What kind of jobs are your money doing? Are there perhaps some where you see that you're really good at this kind of thing, where it's a skill cross-section, or where you have passion for that hobby or that project, so you're spending money there? Or it's just economically pragmatic and common sense to have your jobs do certain things, food, clothing, shelter, unless clothing is your hobby. And then I do not understand you. However, the job, it's got to be economical. It's got to make sense. It's got to make money sense. It's got to make sense from a values standpoint, what you really want to do with your life, just like a real job would. And it also needs to represent your skills, your abilities, your uniqueness. All of that comes into play as you decide what jobs your dollars should do. So that is Rule 1 broken down, word for word. Do not neglect it. It's budgeting. Until next time, follow YNAB's 4 rules and you will win financially. You've never budgeted like this.